What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. MLB free agency continues to swirl. Rumors continue to swirl. We have another huge signing. Trey Turner, one of the league's best shortstops. Of course, one of those. You got a bunch of big free agent shortstops. Turner's now off the board. You got the Dansby Swanson, Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa. All-star shortstops all are available this offseason. Trey Turner's on an 11-year deal worth $300 million with the Philadelphia Phillies. That's a big pickup for the Phillies, who really needed the shortstop. Last year's shortstop was a bit of a revolving door. They counted on a bounce back from Didi Gregorius. Did not happen. Battle of injuries. He really struggled when he was on the field. He only hit around, I think, under 200. He struggled defensively. Was pretty much washed up. Eventually, they put Bryson Stott there, who was a good defender, but not a great hitter. And now you get a guy in Trey Turner, who I think is very underrated. One of the best shortstops in the game. Had a big year last year with the Dodgers. Has turned into an absolutely amazing player. He goes to the Phillies on a huge contract. Like Kyle Gibson's 1-year deal with the Orioles that got reported, I think about a week ago. Or maybe it was even a few days ago. It's worth $10 million. So Gibson goes to Baltimore 1 year, $10 million. Angels add to the bullpen. They are Carlos Estevez, a 2-year deal worth $13.5 million. I think that's a solid signing. He had 3.47 ERA in 62 games last year in Colorado. If you can do that in Colorado, I'm sure anywhere really outside Colorado, the inn's not super thin, so the ball doesn't travel obviously as far. Hopefully, he can be even better. Angels need as much bullpen help as they can get. And Tommy Kahnle he returns to the Yankees, was with them for a few years, and then he bounced around a bit, had a really strong year last year with the Dodgers. He goes to the Yankees. His second stint now with the Bronx, 2-year deal worth $11.5 million. We got the Yankees general manager, Brian Cashman, who did not have a contract. He now does. He was signed to they gave him a new 4-year deal, so he's under contract through 2026. I don't think they win a World Series as long as Cashman is there. You look at all these teams that are winning World Series. The Astros, the Astros they just let him go, but had James Click, who's very young. The Washington Nationals, not so much with Mike Rizzo. That was kind of a one-off. They haven't done anything since. The Dodgers have a younger GM, I believe. These young GMs are kind of where it's at now in MLB, and Cashman, I think, is a little bit too old school. Speaking of the Yankees, they actually did not know Aaron Judge was coming to winter meetings. Aaron Judge came to the winter meetings yesterday to talk to teams. The Yankees did not know he was coming. I think that's a bit of a not great sign. It looks like between the Yankees and the Giants. I don't know if he's going back to the Yankees, to be honest. You got Judge coming out and saying he didn't like that Brian Cashman leaked the offer they made to him in the preseason, which was a 7-year deal worth $213 million. He said it kind of turned the media against and put the pressure on, which it kind of did. It basically said, all right, you just turned down, $200+ million to over $30 million a year. And now you got to go. This is a guy who, in 2017, his rookie year, hit 52 home runs, which is the American League rookie record. And now he's going to have to do what he did again. Of course, he ended up topping it. He bet on himself, and it worked, obviously. But he needed to have a real crazy year to get more money than what he was offered. Now you get the media, you kind of dashed him for not taking the deal. And it kind of put a lot of pressure on him. So he is kind of right in what it did. He said he didn't like that it put pressure on the media against him. It kind of did. Kind of put pressure on him to really go out and have one of the best years of his career. And this is a guy who had 52 home runs as a rookie, and he needs possibly top that, which he was able to do. But obviously at the time, it looked next to impossible. What he did this past season will probably never be done again, honestly. And it kind of did turn the media against him. The media bashed him. They thought it was a wrong move, and I thought it was a wrong move at the time as well. But he proved it was all wrong. Meanwhile, you got the Giants saying that the meeting went well. They're connecting with Stephen Curry, of course, plays out for the Golden State Warriors, and he's a big Red Sox fan. Now you said behind closed doors, the Giants said they feel good about their chances of signing him. They clearly won't be outbid for him. They already said that. So I don't know, but we shall see. We got some trade rumors. White Sox closer Liam Hendricks, who's one of the best closers in the league. He's a trade block apparently. White Sox are listening to offers on him. And the Twins are actually interested in trading, or maybe not interested, but they are open to trading the reigning American League batting champion, Luis Arias, who won the batting title last year in the American League, in a trade for some help with their pitching staff. So we'll see where that goes. MLB free agency is still a lot of names out there. You've already had over a total of $1 billion spent. And you still got Aaron Judge, who's going to get north of $300 million. They said he's probably going to get a 9-year deal, and he's going to get over $300 million. A lot of other guys, Danby Swanson, Carlos Correa, get a lot of guys still left. On to hockey. Scores from last night. Golden Knights over the Bruins, 4-3 in a shootout. Rangers over the Blues, 6-4. By the way, the Blues goalie, Jerome Bington, a couple of years ago when he first came up, he was a beast, got that big contract. He has really struggled these last couple of years. He was terrible last night for the Blues. And, you gave Jerome Bington that huge 6-year deal, and then over the last 2 years he has really struggled. And he had Val Husso, who last year played really well. Ended up being in a timeshare with Bington because he honestly was a much better goalie. And then they let him walk in for agency. He goes to Detroit, and now we're stuck with Bington, who's struggling. It was probably one of the main reasons why the Blues were 11-14 this year. They might need to fire their coach, Craig Berube, who of course came in mid-season, turned them around, won a cup, and they've been a quality team every year since then as well. But it's kind of tough to pinpoint what exactly the problem is outside of Bington and maybe the coaching. Flyers over the Avalanche 5-3. Capitals over the Oilers 3-2. Flames over the Coyotes 3-2. And then the Canucks over the Canadiens in a battle in the Vancouver and Montreal Canada battle 7-6 in overtime. Wow. Montreal blew a 4-0 lead in that game. Montreal was up 4-0 after a period. And then the Canucks came back and tied it at 6, and then they won in overtime. So, combination of great comeback by the Canucks and a big choke job by the Montreal Canadiens. In college basketball, number 18 Gonzaga beats Kent State 73-66. Gonzaga trying to get back on track. Of course, they're usually one of the top teams in the country. Right now, they're only ranked number 18. Drew Timme, 29 points, 17 rebounds. By the way, his mustache is glorious. I just want to put that out there. I love his mustache. Just want to put that out there. And number 22, San Diego State beats Troy 60-55. Those were the only games in college basketball last night. In the NBA action, Clippers over the Hornets 119-117. Bucks over the Magic 109-102. 34 points, 13 rebounds for Giannis, who's celebrating his birthday today. Thunder over the Hawks 121-114. 35 points for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Thunder are 11-13, considering they don't have Chet this year. They're actually playing pretty well. Celtics over the Raptors, 116-110. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 12 rebounds. Celtics are continuing to just roll over everyone. Best record in the league right now. Rockets over the Sixers, 132-123 in double overtime. James Harden returned to the Sixers for the first time in a month. He did struggle, but he hadn't played in a month. Probably was rusty. I'm sure it was maybe a little bittersweet playing the Rockets. Jalen Green, 27 points, 7 assists. Grizzlies over the Heat, 101-93. Tyus Jones, 28 points, 10 assists. Heat are struggling. They're also a Grizzly team who, of course, are a great team, but they didn't have Ja, Desmond Bane, or Jaren Jackson Jr. They had, like 3 of their top 4 players out, and they lost. They're 11-13. Something's wrong there. Something is wrong. I'm sure you guys all know my friend Justin, who I do podcasts with. We co-host Jake and Justin in the morning, as well as Fraudulent Behavior. Along with Fraudulent Behavior, of course, along with our other friend Ethan. He's called into my show before. He's actually a big Heat fan. I'm not sure if you know this, but Justin and I live together. And he's very upset with the Heat product right now. Well, I've heard from him. This is just from one, a Heat fan. 2, Justin is very knowledgeable on the game of basketball. He thinks the problem is Kyle Lowry. He thinks part of the problem is him, and he thinks they need some more size, which I kind of agree with. Lowry, I mean, he makes over $20 million a year. That's his AAV. They got him through next year, I believe. I heard they're looking to trade him. I don't know if they'll be able to get anything for him because of that of the salary. I mean, he's much older now. He's still a decent scorer and a decent shooter and a decent defender, and he is a good leader, but he's not the same player. I don't really think he's worth $28+ million anymore. And they just don't have enough guys that can create their own shot. Like, Jimmy Butler is a great player. I think he's underrated. He is an excellent player. He's inside the three-point line. He's an excellent scorer. He's one of the league's best defenders, one of the best two-way players in the league. He is a great leader. He is a great player. He's great in the postseason, but he's not a good shooter. Doesn't mean he's a bad player. He is an excellent player, but he's not a good shooter. You got, Bam Adebayo, another guy. Great scorer, especially inside the three-point line. Great rebounder, great defender. One of the best young players in the game. But he's not a great three-point shooter. Outside of Tyler Hero, your young guard who's a great scorer. He's a good shooter. He had 20 points, 13 rebounds in the loss, by the way. Outside of him, you got a couple of guys on the bench. Max Strus is a good shooter. They have on their bench. Gabe Vincent's a decent shooter on their bench. He's just one of their backup guards. There really isn't anybody on this team that can create their own shot, and they don't have enough guys that can do that. Like, they have a lot of guys. They have a lot of good athletes. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. They have a lot of athleticism. They're very good defensively. Obviously, they've got a great coach, Narvik Spoelstra. Pat Riley running that team as the head executive there. But they need more guys that can shoot. There's no outside of, like, Jimmy Butler's not a shooter. Bam's not a shooter. Outside of Tyler Hero and then Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, who are coming with the bench, there isn't enough shooting on this team. There just isn't. And they kind of need another big man. You got Omar Yurtseven, who's a bench piece they have. He's injured right now. You're not sure if they'll get him back. Outside of Bam, you got Dwayne Dedmon, who's a best and average backup center. Nothing special. And you got Nikola Jovic, who's a rookie. He's only going to do so much. And that's really all they have it when it comes to size. Now, you're starting Caleb Martin at power forward. Is that really the right good move? Caleb Martin is another guy who he's also a good shooter. So there are really only 4 shooters on my team that really are getting significant playing time. They really needed another shooter, at least one more, and probably another big man. That's probably what they need. But Grizzlies win that one. Mavericks over the Suns, 130-111. Luka, 33 points in that one. Luka's going off this year. He is some player. And Patriots over the Warriors, 112-104. Nembhard, the rookie for Indiana, 31 points, 13 assists, 8 rebounds. He had the put-away shot in that one, career high. This kid, Nembhard, can't come out of nowhere. He might be Rookie of the Year candidate. He's having some year in Indiana. Two games before 500. They're in the playoffs right now. They're at least the play-ins, if not in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. They're playing really well. You got Halliburton, who might be an all-star. I saw a graphic. His numbers are actually so far are better than Steve Nash's MVP year. So they're like almost 19 points a game, like 10 or 11 assists. He's having some year. You got Buddy Hield's playing well, Miles Turner's playing well. This kid Nembhard's having a great rookie year. Things are starting to come together in Indiana. It'll be interesting what happens at the trade line if they're still at least like in the playing competition at least. Do they, will like keep Miles Turner? Do you decide not to trade Miles Turner? Do you move him anyway and commit to the rebuild? Do you buy maybe to an extent? It'll be interesting. Let's see what happens. In Golden State, they're now only one game more over 500. So they're actually the struggles have been on the road. They're 11-2 at home, but they're 2-10 on the road. At one point, you're like, wow, 0-8. I don't know what's going on, and that's one of the more veteran teams in the league. That core of Steph, Clay, Draymond have been there since the start of this thing, and obviously you got Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, and then all those guys. It's weird. That's a team that you would think would not be a team to struggle on the road because of how many veterans are on that team. Interesting. That's basketball. Monday Night Football last night. Bucks beat the Saints 17-16. Bucks got to 6-6, remain first place in that horrible NFC South. Saints are up to 4-9. Saints are up 16-3 with 3 minutes left, and then they blew it. Brady loses another game-winning drive. Brady in the press conference afterwards goes, just like he drew it up, it was actually kind of funny. By the way, with 6 minutes left, Mark Ingram, he runs out of bounds, a yard short of the first down. Didn't pick up the first down, then 2 plays later, the Saints punted, and then the Bucs ended up coming back. If he gets that first down, the Saints probably win the game. Because now the clock runs, and they got a much better shot. So, and Mark Ingram actually tweeted out that he made a mistake. For sure. The Bucs were visible all game, and then they came all the way back at the end. So, crazy ending to that game. We got, I'm going to go over the bowl games before the college football, before I wrap the show up. I went over the New Year's 6. Yes, I'll go over the other, I think it's like 35, something like that. I think yes, there is way too many bowl games. I'm sorry. Like, some of the names these games, the Gator Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, like, what? First of all, like I said, the names are stupid. And there's way too many. Why are these 6-6 unranked teams getting into bowl games? I don't understand. Anyway, on January 2nd, you got LSU against Purdue. LSU finished second in the SEC this year, and then Purdue was second in the Big Ten. I don't love how the divisions work in some of these conferences. Like LSU had 4 losses, and they were in the SEC championship game. You got Tennessee and Alabama with 2 losses, and they weren't because they're in the same division as Georgia. And like Purdue had 5 losses to win 8-5, I think, this year, and they were in the Big Ten championship game. But Ohio State has only lost to Michigan. They were top. They made the college football playoff, but they weren't in the game because they were in the same division as Michigan. Yet that interesting to see. That game you got also on January 2nd. That's the Citrus Bowl. In the Aurelia Quest Bowl, same day, Mississippi State against Illinois on New Year's Eve. The Music City Bowl will be Iowa against Kentucky. I'm not sure if Kentucky quarterback Will Levis play in that game. He just declared for the draft. December 30th, Ohio University versus Wyoming. Ohio finished second in the MAC this year. Same day, you got that is the Arizona Bowl. That's another stupid name. Gator Bowl, Notre Dame versus South Carolina. South Carolina gets to see that quarterback Spencer Rattler in action. December 30th as well. The Sun Bowl, you got UCLA versus Pitt. UCLA, a decent year this year. Duke's Mayo Bowl, you got Maryland against NC State. Alamo Bowl on December 29th. It's December 29th games now. Alamo Bowl, Texas against Washington. Texas was okay this year. Your typical Texas year. Oh, a lot of hype. And then they ended up, 8-4, whatever the heck they finish. Washington was pretty good this year in the Pac-12. In the Cheez-It Bowl, you got Oklahoma versus Florida State. The Cheez-It Bowl. Another awful name for a bowl. Cheez-It Bowl. That's such stupid. Like, Oklahoma was horrible this year, and they get into a bowl game. Florida State was better, but they really couldn't get any worse. That program has completely fallen off. The Pinstripe Bowl, of course, that's in New York. Minnesota against Syracuse. December 28th, you got the Texas Bowl. Ole Miss against Texas Tech. At one point, Ole Miss was ranked top 10, and they kind of fell off from there. They're, of course, in the top SEC. The Holiday Bowl, Oregon versus North Carolina. Oregon's, looked like they had a shot to win the Pac-12, and then they got demolished by Oregon State. They played North Carolina in that game. North Carolina finished second in the ACC this year. They did have a good year. In the Liberty Bowl, Arkansas versus Kansas. Kansas at one point was a top 20 team, and they kind of fell off, but definitely progress for that football program. The Military Bowl, Duke against UCF. UCF finished second in the AAC this year. December 27th, in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Wisconsin against Oklahoma State. Wisconsin just brought in a new coach in Luke Fickell from Cincinnati. They play Oklahoma State. That's in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. In the Birmingham Bowl, this is literally called the Birmingham Bowl. It's in Birmingham, Alabama. Wow, real original. Coastal Carolina versus East Carolina. That game, I don't know why it's even a game. The First Responder Bowl, Memphis against Utah State. Like, was Memphis or Utah State mentioned once in this college football season? Let's just give them a bowl game. Why? I don't understand. The Camellia Bowl. I don't know if I said that right. I don't even care, to be honest. Buffalo against Georgia Southern. I think Georgia Southern might have lost to, like, Georgia or something. That's the only reason he got mentioned this year. Okay, sure. December 26th, the Quick Lane Bowl. Bowling Green versus New Mexico State. Okay, got some action, as people like to call it. December 24th, in the Hawaii Bowl. San Diego State versus Middle Tennessee. That's on Christmas Eve. December 23rd, in the Gasparilla Bowl. Missouri against Wake Forest. Independence Bowl, Houston versus Louisiana. December 22nd, the Armed Forces Bowl is Baylor against Air Force. December 21st, the New Orleans Bowl. Wow, real original. Yes, and yes, the game is in New Orleans. Western Kentucky versus South Alabama. I just don't understand these teams getting to bowl games. December 20th, the Boca Raton Bowl, Toledo versus Liberty. That should be a pretty good game. Toledo won the MAC this year. They had a breakout year. And Liberty was decent this year, considering, the kind of program they have, but they did just lose their head coach. December 20th, in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That's one of the worst names on here. San Jose State versus Eastern Michigan. Let's get some action there. December 19th, the Myrtle Bowl, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Marshall against UConn. I will give props to UConn. They've been one of the worst teams in college football the last few years. They've won like 4 games last like 3 years combined. And they were like what? And they were, and I think they went like 6 and 6 this year. So kudos to them. Jim Moore Jr. did a good job this year there, in his first year there. December 17th, the Frisco Bowl, North Texas against Boise State. North Texas, we never heard of them at all. Boise State hasn't been relevant since Kellen Moore was the quarterback there. He's now off the corner of the Cowboys. The Las Vegas Bowl, Florida against Oregon State. Oregon State kind of came out of nowhere and upset Oregon late in the season. Kind of spoiled their chances of possibly getting to the Pac-12 championship. Yeah, in the Lending Tree Bowl, Southern Mississippi against Rice. In the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, why is that a bowl name? Named for Jimmy Kimmel, but that's just dumb. Washington State against Fresno State. And in the New Mexico Bowl, BYU versus SMU. In the Fenway Bowl, Louisville versus Cincinnati. December 16th, in the Cure Bowl, Troy versus UTSA. Those teams snuck into the rankings at the end of the year. And December 16th, in the Bahamas Bowl, UAB versus Miami, Ohio. I have finally gotten through like the zillion bowl games. There was way too many, and they need to come up with some better names. They are so stupid. I know they're all sponsored by some. I didn't even say some of the sponsors. There's too many. It's stupid. Cookville needs to fix that. That being said, I got through all of them. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.